Last week was a good episode, but this week was better. I truthfully mean it. This week was a better episode all around. This is Mega Man NG, and I welcome you guys to another Flash episode review. Before I begin, sorry if this review is very late. It's because I had an Overwatch stream. I didn't have time to get things ready. Not to mention my Windows 10 laptop, the 12GB RAM one, is right now undergoing cumulative updates. So basically, I'm going to have to wait a while for this, okay? Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about yesterday's episode, Honey, I Shrunk Team Flash. Yeah, the Flash is now doing their take on Honey, I Shrunk, the series. You know what I mean, right? Let's get started. I'll be providing a summary as well as some of the things that I liked, because I will admit there are many things that I did enjoy. Let us begin. One morning, while Joe is building a crib, Cecile discovers that she has the ability to read people's minds. To her, it's a big deal, but it becomes bothersome for Joe. In Iron Heights, Barry tries to get info from Dave in the hopes of helping him. He gets Team Flash to help, but they soon meet up with a meta that has the ability to shrink or enlarge anything it touches. When it affects Cisco and Ralph, things head to a standstill. Can the rest of Team Flash be able to save two of their own before they end up getting dispersed into itty-bitty particles? Whereas last week was a pretty good episode, this week was even better. And now this week's better, finally hitting the perfect balance between action and comedy. And they nailed it to a T. I like it. I really enjoyed this episode. This episode continues to be better for a variety of reasons. Yeah, compared to last week was pretty nice since it did give most of Team Flash the time to shine. This week, however, this week is so much better. This week is like a big improvement. And yes, Barry is in Iron Heights with his own plot. However, the main focus is on Team Flash themselves. And Team Flash continues to shine. They continue their efforts to stop any menace that emerge, and they continue to make the episodes more better. If things were as they should like this, then the series could actually turn around and get better. Now, the villain of the week for starters is Silbert Rundine, aka Dwarfstar. He is a villain that has the ability to take anything it touches and shrink it down, similar to how it was, I believe, with the Atom. Surprisingly enough, this is a villain that is really interesting. However, my biggest flaw with this is that he's not developed well enough, and I feel he has a lot of potential. He has a lot of potential as a character to become a recurring threat for Team Flash to deal with. Oh, and fun fact, Dwarfstar is pretty much an enemy to the second Atom, Ryan Choi. For those of you who've been watching my Injustice 2 playthrough, yeah, I did the Atom, aka Ryan Choi. And surprisingly enough, we're getting an Atom villain. Sadly, we did not get Ray Palmer here on this. But hey, Ray Palmer's having his own fun in Legends. Speaking of Legends, new episodes don't come till February, and the wait for them is killing me. However, he ended up becoming a main focus of the plot, causing Cisco and Ralph Dibny to shrink. And when Harry, aka Earth 2 Wells, tries to fix it, it ended up causing a bigger situation, because if they were unable to be cured, well, things would have been pretty bad for those two. I mean, even if they were to use their powers, it isn't enough. It just isn't. But it did provide us a lot of opportunities for the characters to grow and develop. Especially Wells, who in my honest opinion, sure, he may be smart, but there are times that even smart people can have a hard time having to deal with a certain situation. And it's no exception here. And seeing him being able to open up and admit that he failed, that shows. And Cisco even admitting it, even telling him straight in his face that sometimes failure can happen to a lot of us, and you need to learn from your mistakes in order to get better. And they were able to eventually figure out a way to not only stop Dwarfstar, but also help Big Dave in the process, and restore Cisco and, well, Ralph Dibny. I mean it, I really am enjoying the chemistry with the entire Team Flash. The chemistry is just all over it's just amazing. It's just so well done. I liked it big time. But who would have thought a meta would actually have the ability to take small objects and make them bigger? That makes him a bigger threat than he already is. There's also the subplot in Iron Heights where Barry tries to help Big Dave, or Big Sir, portrayed by Bill Goldberg, and the subplot actually ends on a rather high note. they're able to find the guy that was actually responsible for putting Big Sir in Iron Heights to begin with. And even though Barry is a speedster, he was able to help settle everything by having him use a Speed Force to drive him all the way to Nimbani, China. Or rather, is it G.I. Joe? I don't know. But point is that everything was nice. But despite this, though, he felt that in the end, it's just hollow. But in my honest opinion, no matter what, at least there is hope for him. At least it ended nicely for Big Dave, but it came with a big consequence because the ending was now leading up to something big that's going to happen next week. Turns out the warden is in cahoots with Amunet Black, and I have a feeling she's going to be having something to do with all the metas that they were able to lock up, Barry included. My guess is that the Thinker is going to be involved, and whatever the Thinker is planning, it's not good. But regardless, everything about this episode is great, and the chemistry with all the cast really shine, making it a much better episode compared to last week. And though I did enjoy last week because Ralph Divney gets a better costume and a better name, I feel that there were some flaws, and Dwarfstar is one of those flaws. There was also the other subplot with Cecile and Joe, and I didn't talk about that much, but I feel personally the subplot was pretty much okay. And I like how the two develop a bit more with their relationship, because no matter what, Cecile will always love Joe and vice versa. It was pretty nice and I liked it, but the fact that she now has the ability to read minds is a surprising one. She now has powers of her own. This just makes things all the more interesting. So yeah, the only flaw that I have is that Dwarfstar, since I feel he has major potential to be a big threat. Considering that next week's episode is going to involve him and all the other metas that were given powers due to Barry being pushed out of the Speed Force, and the fact that we're getting Amunet Black involved, it's only going to make things really interesting. My final verdict is that this episode gets an 8.5 out of 10. It is a very good episode, a very awesome episode of that, and one that I thoroughly enjoyed. I really liked it big time. And hopefully, if things can continue to get better, providing a good balance of comedy and action, I feel that Season 4 is going to end on a very good note. But who knows? The only thing I hope is that the writers can be able to learn from their mistakes and provide some good development. Like good writing. Good writing helps make a good episode work. And this episode's proof of that. But only time will tell. And I did get to see this week's Black Lightning, and I will say I love the show. I really love the show. It offers something different, and I hear that it's rumored that the guy who created, the producer, wants to bring in Static Shock. If that happens, then I'm going to get giddy. But who knows? Who really knows? So what's going to happen now? Tomorrow evening, there will be a special TMNT video where I will be talking about the character designs for Rise of the TMNT, the 2018 show, as well as my overall thoughts. So look forward to that, okay? So that's pretty much it for this episode review. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please be sure to hit the like button. It really does mean a lot to me. And I will see you guys next time for more. Yeah, show your support because I really love doing these episode reviews. It's a shame they don't get much love. This is Mega Man NJ signing off. Peace out. See you next week.